What is up, everybody? Joe Sib here with my co-host,
Anea Bogue.
Rad Parenting. Here we go. How you been?
Pretty well. I'm going to say pretty well.
It was great having Dr. Suzanne last week.
Heck yeah.
She's the best.
I love her. She's another one of my favorite humans on the planet.
I want to work on getting her to come back again sooner or later. And I know that you were talking about her coming in possibly even next week. You have a whole episode.
Yes.
I don't want to give it away.
Don't, but yes. We've been back and forth chatting about possible topics, and she's all over it. And I mean, and she's in the thick of it because she's dealing with like about to be parents every single day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she's got some juicy ideas.
That's great.
Stay tuned.
Having her on here too, our listeners always dig her because having both of you on here because you guys are super, super smart. And like you said, she brings in a whole other just ideas and thoughts and so smart and brings it all into the mix. It's the best salad for rad parenting. I imagine us as like a little salad in here. Analogies. Analogies. There you go.
We're off and running.
There you go. Hey, I had an idea that I wanted to run by you. In my household right now, and I know in your household right now, summer coming to an end. Mm-hmm. And I had such a blast this summer. You know what? I just want to say this. We shut down so much in the sense of lots of sleeping in during, obviously had to go to work and do all of that, but the kids, I'm speaking for them, a lot of them sleeping in, the whole rushing around. If you live in Los Angeles or in a big city, you know what I'm talking about. Less time on the freeway and more time just in the backyard, in the front yard, in the neighborhood, trips to the beach. And I just noticed, and I don't know if this was the same in your household, Anea, but just the whole energy level was at such a great space right now.
Absolutely.
And
with both my girls, and I've got a big stretch, like with the 20-year-old and with the 7 going on 8-year-old, like huge difference in the energy in our house. And
I know for a lot of people listening, they are like, hey, we already started school this week, or it's starting next week. For us, it's literally starting right now. And I got to be honest, I was laying there the other day and just going, I don't want to go back to the rushing and to the everyone's lunch and get this and go and make sure that's in the car and I'm out front. My daughter has to be at school at 7:30. I don't care how early. It's
Are you kidding
7:30
me?
in the morning. 7:30 in the
Wow.
morning. Yeah, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, we got to be there at 7:30 too because they got to drop off at whether it's daycare or whatever before their kids go to school. So that rush, battling the traffic, and I got a little sad because we're on such a good groove right now as a family that I thought I'd ask you, maybe you and I can kind of brainstorm on how we make that shift back into school, because we all know it's there, and back into like for my son, flag football practice, and my daughter doing the play, and just that I feel like that chaos of school time parenting.
Yeah.
Is there a way to still keep some of the
Summer yummy?
Yeah. Summer yummy.
That's
I love
a good one,
that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. And I think, what I hear you saying is that, during the school year, we're like dialing it in, it's go time. And we can all do that for periods of time. And I think especially in this part of the world, we probably spend way too much time going at that pace. And it's really lovely when you have the summertime to go, oh, wow, it can be like this. I forgot. So I think the sweet spot, and we're always talking about sweet spots, it would be, can we find a way to shift into what needs to be a more sort of rigid routine to make sure everybody's getting where they need to go and getting done what they need to get done, but not lose the summer yummy, not lose the quality time. And I think that, I'm a believer that we create our reality. We have, within reason. Ideally, we are truly the captains of our own ship. And that includes saying, okay, so what are the waters that we're navigating here? Like, we both have to go to work. There are bills to be paid, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that there's really an opportunity with what to me is really the new year. Going back to school is actually the beginning of the year in terms of the way I think most of us experience it, especially if we
I
have
totally
kids.
feel that way 100% because after Christmas break and everyone says the new year's starting, I'm like, New Year started for us and
4 months ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the kids are already on their plans. So even saying that right there makes me realize, okay, maybe I start looking at it like this. We're going to start school, mid-August, and our next real break will be, say, the middle of December.
Yep.
So I got to get August, September, October, November. So I got about 5 months that I got to grind it out. What can I do to keep some of that summer yummy.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, let's not look at it as grinding it out, and let's take the opportunity. The thing I love about a new school year is the beginning, like when we have markers like that in our sort of timeline. It gives us an opportunity to have certain things that we do with our brains and setting new routines. So whatever you were doing previously, back to school time is a tremendous opportunity to really have a new beginning. Like your New Year's resolution, but right at school. So I think what we can do as parents is set intentions, set goals that we establish together, the adults in the house, and then say, okay, kids, here's what we're doing. And you can certainly ask them for ideas, but how are we going to make the most of this? How are we going to get everybody to where they need to be? How are we going to minimize the chaos energy that none of us are digging? But also really be conscious of setting aside time that is individual downtime and that is like family bonding time. Because I think everybody's better when we have
the term you nailed, the chaos energy. Though that type of energy that exists in our household is all of the stuff I always feel that we could plan for not existing. Whether it's the laundry's piled up, and my son's like, I'm looking for my football jersey. My daughter, I'm looking for this. And that moment where we're like, oh my gosh, we didn't wash that. We didn't pack that. We didn't get that dry clean. And all of a sudden, everyone's just at each other's throats. And it's 7 a.m. and the sun hasn't even been up for like 2 hours.
And this is how we're starting
It's
our
only
day.
been up for 2 hours and we're starting our day that way.
Yeah.
So maybe right there, that's our first step is going through the week and going through the routine and going, what do we want to avoid happening? One thing that I know in my household, I don't know, for everyone that's out there listening, I know one thing that happens a lot is it's that morning shuffle. Like Chris, I remember when we had Chris Schiffler on here from the Foo Fighters. He said that morning shuffle is what crushes him. Yeah, the screaming, the yelling. We've only been up for 2 hours and we're already at each other's throats. So that would be in my household a way that I could avoid the chaos if we were better set up, I think, the night before.
Right. And I think, okay, so you've just come up with your solution.
Wow.
And the goal would be, here to me are the action steps in order. First, you go home and you talk to Karen about that. And together you say, okay, so here are our ideas, the two adults in the house, of how we could make that happen. So maybe, like you just said, everything gets done the night before. So if they don't want it to be the last thing they do before they go to bed, you know what? As soon as you get home from school or right after dinner, everybody goes to their respective corners in terms of getting their stuff ready for the next day. And then you spend the last couple of hours that you're awake doing other things, or we can do something as a family, or you do something on your own, whatever. So there's one thing. And then you take it to the kids. And I think this is really important. It obviously depends on the age of your children. But I would say if your kids are 6 or 7 or older, you give them an opportunity to weigh in and and participate in creating the plan. Because any human being that has the opportunity to participate in the creation of something is going to be more invested in actually seeing it to fruition.
Absolutely. Giving them that opportunity to be a part of the plan, opposed to saying, this is the way it's going to go down.
Absolutely.
Now, obviously, with the littler ones, you kind of...
And they want to just kind of be like, Mommy, tell me what to do.
Yeah. I got to ask you a question. The thing that comes to my mind that I've loved the most, too, is the bonding time. That those in our house, it's a lot of the late nights outside, whether it's, we have the trampoline, we'll just lay on that, hang out. Or a lot of, we swim and, the pool, and we're all out there together. I don't want to lose that, but I also, people can't be going to bed,
Well, yeah, and it's
11 o'clock
interesting.
at night when they got to be getting up at 6.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, the whole, and I really was in tune with this growing up, because growing up on the prairies in Canada, there were very distinct seasons. And, here too, it gets, the further we go into the fall, the quicker it gets dark. And so there's certain signs, out in nature that are telling us this is the time of year to live life a little bit differently than you were, June through August. And it's a little bit more time for hibernation. So while it might not mean going out and being in the pool, and it might mean that we're all going to bed a little earlier, maybe it means we're doing something together inside as a family. And again, having your kids, and as they move into their teenage years, they're not going to be super psyched about this, but nevertheless, it has benefit to be like, you know what, if it's not every night, because they're probably inundated with homework, every, Saturday or every Sunday, we're going to carve out some time to just hang and spend quality time.
We try to do Sundays that way.
Right. And and the thing is you help get them invested. If you've had a great summer and they've had that feeling of like, oh, wow, it was really cool just to hang out with my parents or my siblings or whatever and not feel like, everybody's off in their separate corners doing it. You have that as a point of reference now.
And I'll say this, and this is in my own household that I noticed, is that at the beginning, for all of us to hang out that first beginning of June, it takes a bit of getting used to, because everyone I'm being pulled in the direction with everything that I got going on. My wife's pulled in her direction. The kids are pulled in theirs. They're older now, so obviously there's the technology. And sometimes I've looked around, and I'll say this, everyone's on their phone. And I'm like, right there, I'm like, that's bad sign number one.
Yep.
And I'll even say this, and this is just me being honest. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to take away everyone's phone. I just want to sit here and go down the rabbit hole of technology. But I can't, and my wife does the same thing, and then we'll just say, all right, everybody, let's turn in their phones, shut it down, and then. But doing that process took a while for you get the pushback from everybody. But now, since we've had those 3 months of everyone chilling and hanging out together, I feel that I got to continue that, what you just said.
Right. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time while it's fresh in their minds. So parents out there, like, instead of us waiting until like we're going to process this idea for the next 6 weeks, right now, at the beginning of a new year, fresh out of summer, while everybody's aware of what that feeling is and how it served us all, now's the time to make that suggestion and get them on board.
Yeah. And the summer is such a special time. I know that just through the last couple of weeks when we've been doing shows, like I talked about, surfing with my son, hanging out, just the ocean. I just love it because I don't know where I heard this, but as a kid growing up, I remember reading and hearing someone describe not summer as a full year, but always describing that whatever age you expire at, like let's say, all right, I lived to be 78 or whatever. The way to look at summertime is you only have 78 summers. Wow. And when you look at life that way of like, hey, I'm 49, I'm going to be 50 next year. So I've had 50 summers. Yep. That could only be, now everyone's like, this is getting sad. But like there, you can only have 25 summers left.
Yeah, and savor it.
And that's what I'd want everyone
savor
to.
it.
Yeah. And I really, that's something I'd want to share with everybody, is that when you look at it that way, instead of summer being a bummer, I get it. The kids are at home. You have to actually, and let's face it, it's a workout to hang out sometimes and do all those things that your kids want to do and run around and go to the park and go to the beach and battle traffic and set up that camping trip or do those things that you want to do. Cause it's, like I said, it's a workout. It's a lot to do, but if you look at it that you only have X amount of summers in your lifetime and only X amount of summers with your kids. I tell my kids all the time, we're living underneath the same roof, but just for a while, guys. Yep. Like my daughter's 15, my son's 12. You guys are going to be bailing
in less
soon.
than 10 years. They're gone.
We're going to all hang out together, and there'll be moments that we're underneath the same roof when we travel together or when you come home or whatever. But most likely the time period for all of us and for everyone listening to the show that you're under the roof with your kids is for 18, 19, 20 years. Yep. And when you think of it that way, obviously parenting is a job that never really ends because you're always being a parent. But when you think about that amount of time that you have with each other, I think that really puts in perspective trying to keep, like you said, some of that summer yummy together. And I've said the word summer yummy way too many times. Then I think I've said, I don't think I need to ever say summer yummy again in my entire life.
But I'll say it one more time.
Yeah. And I want a shirt that says summer yummy on it. Anyone that's listening, please make that and send it to me.
Send it on into Joe Sib.
There you go. Do you ever feel that you do not have enough time in the day to do what you're supposed to get done? You're going to work, you're maybe trying to hit the gym, but you forgot that, I got to pick so-and-so up from daycare. I got to get my dad over to his doctor's appointment. I wanted to pick up the house before I left. Wow, check it out. How am I going to get everything done? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. Go to care.com. Care.com. Care.com is the world's largest digital marketplace for finding and managing family care. That is right. Family care needs can be unpredictable. You got sick kids. You need someone to stay home. Man, both parents are out there trying to make a living. Your kids get sick. Who's going to stay home? Who's going to miss out on that cash? Now you go to care.com and they'll have someone for you that can look after your kids. Don't stress your life away. Seriously, most working parents worry about their kids every minute of the day. You're more at ease and more focused when you know your kids or your parents or even your pets are well cared for. Best part is this, care.com provides access to a variety of background check options. you can purchase to help make sure that you're making the best hiring decision. That's my favorite part right there. They're letting you know there's a million different things for you to check out on the background check options so you know who's going to be there with your kids or with your parents or with your pet taking care of the situation. Care.com. Check it out now. If you go to care.com right now, you ready for this? To save 30% off care.com premium membership, visit care.com/rad parenting when you subscribe, and you're going to get 30% off. Like I said, the world's moving a million miles an hour. You just want to take care of your kids and all the responsibilities. Let care.com help. But
okay, so at the same time, we can't hold on to the summer, and so I think it's really important to also, and I call them brain prompts, and it's part of really making, you can call it making the most of it, whatever situation. My 7 going on 8-year-old is dreading going back to school. Like, I went in to wake her up the other morning because this is part of the transition, right? I'm not going to wait until the first day of school.
So smart.
To start the routine, right? In a very calculated way, I'm like, okay, we've got about a week. We're about a week out. I'm going to start waking her up a little bit earlier every single day.
By the time this show airs, I will be in our first week.
Okay, right. Yeah. So it's not going to be a shock to her system, to her body, to her brain that she's getting woken up at like 6:30 because we have to be out of the house, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I walked in one morning, she's like, oh my gosh, I had a bad dream that school was starting tomorrow. And when I heard your voice when you came in here, I thought you were going to tell me I had to get up for school. And so it prompted a conversation about, let's talk about the really great things about going back to school. And therein, lies an opportunity. It's a huge teachable moment that there's going to be many moments in her life. And, right now at school, one day it will inevitably be work. I hope that she finds her passion and does a job. Like I think you and I are really blessed to get up most days and be like, I'm really psyched that I get to go do something I love to do, right? It doesn't feel like work. Not everybody's blessed. And certainly you and I both paid our dues where there were many previous jobs where it was like, oh gosh, really? I've got to go do this. So it's a wonderful teachable moment where you can, help them. I always say to her, let's find the good things. Let's find the things that you do like about going to school. And let's focus on looking forward to those things. And then, the second part of it is, and then let's talk about, if your days are going to be spent Monday through Friday in school and with extracurriculars, let's talk about what we want to do on our weekends, which are going to be like our mini summers every week. How do we make the most of that time?
I was laying with my son the other day and we were talking about going back to school, and I said, well, he said, Dad, did you have a good vacation? Because we were away and I had to go back to work this week. And I said, yeah, but I'm a little bummed I got to go back to work. And he goes, yeah, but aren't you excited to see all your friends?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, you know what? I am. And then he said, yeah, I'm excited to go back to school and see all my friends. So I leaned on that with him of, hey, man, you're going to be going back, see all the friends, talk about the summer and everything you guys did. But I thought it was awesome. Cool that he thought works like that. And because I think for everyone, when you do go from that time with the family, I know that, like I always say, I totally know what my life would be like if I was like independently wealthy. I would be the guy that just hung out with the family at all times. Right. Like if I didn't have to work and pay bills and do all that, whenever I've had a week or like going away with the family and it's just the 4 of us and we're just hanging, I'm like, I could totally do this. Like,
your kids would be like, Dad, are you going back to work?
I think my kids would be like, I know that you have a ton of cash, but check it out, go back to work or spend the cash, but not around me. I don't know. I mean, but I totally get that feeling. It's also that thing that, and I think everyone understands that you just want the same quality time to try to exist during the school year, and it's tough, especially now. This is one question I want to ask you. So I feel that during the summer we didn't overbook ourselves, but I already see the calendars I see flag football practice into choir practice into piano, and then I see the acting, and then I see softball and I'm like, how?
Yep. We have to be careful.
Yeah.
We have to be really careful. And I think that, in fairness, I understand that we as parents right now we feel the pressure of, I want to make sure that my kids have as many opportunities as I can afford time and money wise to give them.
When we told people that our kids weren't going to summer camps,
yep.
I mean, 1, it's expensive. And 2, I was like, we have a pool in the backyard. Yeah. There's your summer camp. Parents they were very like, wow, like why wouldn't you put them in a camp? You
Right.
know, and I understand a lot of parents have to have camps because you're at work. I
Right.
get it, but I was also like, can't summer be maybe not a million activities?
Exactly. And I think, in this is really tied to one of our previous episodes where we talked about the importance of kids, developmentally, the importance of kids being able to spend quiet time, to be able to spend time on their own. And I think that we are inclined as parents in this particular day and age to feel like our kids always have to be doing something, that we always have to have them booked in something. For some of us as parents, it's like, I have to have them covered. We need to take a step back. And again, the beginning of a new year, which this is an opportunity to sit down and remind yourself that as a parent, you're the captain of the ship. You have an opportunity to demonstrate to your kids what it looks like to consciously create what your days look like, what your future looks like, and sit down with Bobby or Susie and say, okay, here's a list of 5 activities that we had last year. I'm thinking, in the spirit of summer yummy, that we are going to dial that down to 3. And I want you to choose the ones that are most important to you. That doesn't mean that we can't come back to these other 2 later, but imagine what we could do. Like, we want to start off this new school year with less chaotic energy, with less, rushing and everybody feeling short on time and short on energy because we're all so overbooked. And this is going to give us an opportunity with having 2 less activities for me to drive you to and you to be having commitments to, for us to have a little bit more quality time. You on your own, us as a family. Everybody wins.
I love it. I love it. Great topic. All of you continue sending in any of the questions that you guys have. You can always email us at radparenting@gmail.com. I said I wouldn't say the word again, but you know what? Try to keep that summer yummy going into the end of this year and the beginning of next year. Summer's going to be here as soon as we can. Remember that you only have so many summers in your life.
Yes.
In my case, I like I said, I'm turning 50, so I probably only got like another 50 summers left. How crazy would that be? Living to be 100 years old.
Joe Sib, 100 years old.
Joe Sib, 100 years old. Hey, please go to our Facebook page, like us there, and always keep all of those radical critiques and responses about our show on iTunes. We really, not critiques, because it's always reviews.
They're
I like that.
so amazing.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. All right, we're out of here. We'll see you guys all next week with Dr. Suzanne. She'll be back in here again. And my name is Joe Sib.
And Anea Bo.
And we're out of here. Late.